Swing and a drive. Hammered deep right. 1-0 Atlanta.
Went in the same spot on the 2-0 pitch, came right back at it, and Robbie was ready for this one.
That's a shot high and deep to left. Way back it goes. It is gone. Home run for Randy Arozarena. A 1-1 pitch, and the Rays break out in front 3-0. Swing drive. Majestic homer. How far? How high? On top of the chop house.
I don't think we've ever seen that here, have we?
And he got him a swing and a miss. And the Rays are winners tonight.
Yikes! The Yankee offensive problems continue.
Oh no! We suck again!
This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
.402 Wednesday, WHPC Sports Talk, as usual, always on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host for today, Anthony Deus, joined by Michael Merlo.
How we doing on a very fine Wednesday afternoon?
Could be better. Wish I wouldn't have wasted time watching the game last night, but we will get into that.
I'm in a giddy mood today.
Yep. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to introduce the other person we have in the room?
I was, but you started dancing weird. By the way, we're on Facebook Live, so make sure you check that out.
Yes, I look great today.
903 WHPC, and a new addition. Someone that I would not think would be here, but we're very glad to have him.
Sports. The
man behind all the intros and almost all the promos here at WHPC.
And
Justin Greenberg.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. You guys seemed lonely today. You're messaging me, and here I am to save the show.
Yes. Oh boy, we're in. This is the morning show light. This is the Thursday morning show light. But you can hear that tomorrow at 7 to 9. Anyways, so I have to say I haven't been here for a couple days.
Yeah, we know.
We've been talking.
Just throwing the whole conversation right off the track from the get-go, right?
No, I'm agreeing with you that you have not been here for 3 days.
So since I haven't been here, there's a lot that's transpired in terms of my New York Yankees. First of all,
they suck.
Well, you want to take the floor? I'm trying to introduce.
No, I think you should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? The guy behind the board should introduce it,
yes.
Right? A new thought.
You probably should.
Off to a great start. Anyway, since I've been here, last time I've been here, the Yankees have been absolutely putrid. Their offense has gone stale, and weirdly, the pitching has gotten better. And it's a weird balance of whatever aspect you need to be working, whether that's the bullpen late in the games that explodes. You'll have good offense and good starting pitching, but then the bullpen blows up. You have good starting pitching and a good bullpen outing, you have no offense. And, it's that sort of three elements, but only one is out of there. So you lose these games, and that's what's happened. And it's mainly been on the offense. They have not been able to score runs. So they lose 3-1 last night, and even the run last night was just ridiculous. Came off an error, and it, of course, was set up by Andrew Benintendi's triple at the bottom of the fifth there. But you expect more, especially a team that came out of the gate being the best team in baseball. And, now that there's whole speculation of the Joey Gallo curse, I don't buy it.
Another home run last night.
Another home run. And it seems there's sort of a feeling in that locker room. Even though I'm not inside of it, you could just see when they pan to the dugout, there's just like a quiet tension there.
Well, when you're on a skid, obviously, and listen, there are ebbs and flows to each season. We get that. The Yankees are never going to be on this tear that they were on all season long. It's almost impossible. And you see now how they've come down to earth big time, and they've been really a average to bad baseball team for about a month and a half now. But sure, you're going to see that in the locker room. I keep seeing, and people talking about it, that the Jordan Montgomery trade has actually caused some kind of, like you just brought up, guys in the locker room not being themselves or not, in a giddy mood, I would say. And I can't stand that take. I really can't. You're professional athletes. You understand the business. Sure, Montgomery's been here the whole time, and it was a surprising trade. But let's just call it like it is. The team is struggling. There are guys injured, and they're not playing well. And this is what happens when you don't play well in a big market where the expectation is so incredibly high.
The Giddy counter is up to 2 now.
Giddy.
Nope, 3.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
So I have a question. Again, I am knowledgeable as far as the Mets go. I do not watch Yankees baseball. I tried to watch Yankees baseball yesterday.
Oh, why
in
couldn't
between
you watch
innings? It was on Amazon, I believe. So I want to switch in between innings, but to go from SNY to my Roku is so many different button combinations.
Isn't that so convenient? Isn't that really marketing to the fans?
It sucks. It sucks, but as somebody who doesn't watch the Yankees often, who would you say is their leader in that? Because you keep on mentioning, the atmosphere in that clubhouse does not seem like it once was. Who is the leader of this team? Is it Judge?
It's Aaron Judge, and it's more of a silent leader type. He's not a very vocal guy. He's not going to be amped up like, say, even though I wouldn't say Pete Alonso's main leader in the Mets dugout, but he's not getting hyped with that. He's just a very quiet leader. I wouldn't say Jeter-esque, a little bit of Jeter-esque in the sense it's not all energy there.
Yeah. Well, something better change because clearly what they're doing is not working. And, another leader in that locker room is Aaron Boone. And I don't think this is on Aaron Boone. I think that a lot of injuries and guys regressing and coming back down to earth is what's causing this funk that they've been in. But you actually brought this up before. And I'll get back to the leader thing in a second because Judge is unquestionably the leader. But you brought up, how maybe they've been pitching well, but now they're not hitting. And if they hit well, then they're not going to be pitching well. That's what happens when teams are in skids. That's what happens when teams are bad for a long period of time. That's just the luck is not there when it comes to, offensively we're going to be really good this day. But the pitching's not there. We saw that in St. Louis 2 Sundays ago.
And it's really funny. I jokingly refer to this sort of period where the Yankees just can't hit. I call them the Jankies, and the reason I call it that is there's a term called jank, and that means horrible, right?
Really?
So, yeah.
Jank means horrible?
I think so.
He's not hip with the lingo. He keeps on saying giddy. Clearly he's not with it, as the kids say.
He was just dancing the Charleston before he came in here, right?
It's the bee's knees?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
But the fact that they're looking like the Yankees last year, just the lack of offense and just sort of what we talked about at the beginning of the season, where, of course, we didn't expect the Yankees to get off to the tremendous start or the first half they had. We just wanted them to be watchable and a fun team to watch.
Well, I consider it worse than it was last year, and it's because you have guys out right now, and they look so bad, and, all over radio today, yes, of course, we're going to bash the Yankees and how bad they've looked, because at the end of the day, they're missing guys like Stanton and Carpenter and DJ LeMahieu, but they have major league players on this team. Andrew Benintendi is a very quality hitter. Aaron Judge is the MVP of the league. Gleyber Torres is supposed to be a guy that hits 5th, 6th in your lineup and hits 20 to 30 home runs a year. Josh Donaldson and his $25 million was brought here to be a very productive bat.
Was brought here to get IKF to be a productive infielder,
but
that hasn't worked.
Donaldson obviously hasn't worked out, like you just mentioned. IKF is putrid at the plate, except for IKF Day, August 13th. We'll never forget that day. But
we'll get to that because there's something I have to say about that later. So stay tuned.
You have Jose Trevino, and I feel like he's forgotten about. He's been a very productive hitter for this team. You have guys in this lineup not producing at the moment. So, yes, you're missing guys, but this is also, a detriment to the guys that built this team, Brian Cashman in the front office. You didn't do a good enough job with the depth.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a caller. Matt, I know you're calling from the road, so what's your problem? Let's get it over with.
How did you know that was me?
Because the Yankees are losing, and why wouldn't you would take every single opportunity to call up and just bash the Yankees, even though the Mets have had 2 rough games? Because you can't focus on your own team sometimes.
I'm impressed that you knew that was me before I even said a word. I'm very impressed with you. But a few things on the docket that you like to say for you.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
love that Justin Greenberg is in the studio right now. We need us to have it more often, Justin.
Yes. Anytime you guys need me.
That's fantastic. It needs to happen more. But also, about that IKF game, Anthony, I just want to know your opinion. And I'm not with these people. I'm sure they were joking.
The what? And we lost.
Matt. What a shame. What a shame.
Yes.
No, that's all right. Well, we'll get to the IKF game. That's just way later, probably around the half-hour mark.
Listen, again, I think we have to calm down.
Listen,
we have to calm down with this team.
Let me give you my perspective.
My point.
Let me give you my perspective. The offense is bad, but you have to understand you're missing Stanton, which is another key bat. You brought him in here to be basically the big marquee free agent, and he has been that at some point. That's a tremendous gap in the lineup, especially when you're running Hicks out there and Marwin Gonzalez and all these basically scrubs at this point.
There's actually a stat, a very nerdy stat, that I think it's expected win probability. I don't even know. It's so stupid. I won't even get into it. But it actually tells you that since 2021 or the start of this season, Aaron Hicks is the worst player in baseball.
Over Joey Gallo.
Yeah, he's worse than Joey Gallo. And back to what I'm saying about the team. Wait for these guys to come back. But let me ask you this: I think DJ LeMahieu is a massive question mark of whether or not he's going on the IL or not. When he's going to come back, I think he's going to avoid the IL, but nobody really knows. And Carpenter's going to be out for a couple of months, or at least another month. Does Stanton coming back? Is he the savior? Does he savior? You like how I added like an OR to that?
Yes. I'll add that to a counter. Mispronounced words.
Is he going to be able to be that guy that just comes back and fixes everything? Because honest to God, he'll help. But I don't know if he, is going to be the guy that comes back and saves the day.
I'd like to compare it to Game 7, 1969 NBA Finals. Willis Reed comes out there, right? Doesn't play that much, but just the idea of, hey, he's back.
Technically 1970.
Okay. You want to get
this is
1969, 1970.
This is why I'm here.
Yes, so every mistake that we make will be written down. He didn't get a piece of paper to write down notes. He got a piece of paper to write down every time we mess up.
Well, my question for you guys is why isn't it time to panic with this team? Obviously, they have a 9-game lead, so I don't think the division is anything that you need to panic about. But if you go into the postseason and play against a team like the Astros, who have been their Achilles heel for the last 4 or 5 seasons, what chance does this team have going up against them if they're losing to the Red Sox, for instance?
I'll answer this question. Right now, it's August 16th or August 17th.
That's another mistake.
There we go. August 17th. Okay? So if this was happening a couple of weeks before the postseason was starting, I'd say, oh my God, this is a problem. But they're getting these kinks, I should say, out of the way. And guys are going to be coming back before the playoffs. So the fact that they'll have these guys back, I think, is just a massive plus. But we saw what this team could do with a fully healthy lineup. Now, if things don't change, if the offense is still struggling, even when you get these guys back in a month or so, and they still haven't figured out the bullpen, and the starting rotation is, a couple of question marks, then yeah, absolutely be worried about it. I still think the team would be good enough to get to the ALCS because of how bad the American League is, but they get smoked by the Astros. I still think they're going to get smoked by the Astros no matter what happens.
I'm in lockstep with you. The difference I see with this team, and the reason I'm not panicking, and it really comes down to Stanton, and even Rizzo. Rizzo was out for a little bit. He's back. But, last year, the Yankees had the majority of what they needed healthy. Their players that needed to be. Stanton was playing, and they were horrible. He's a big element to this team. Carpenter was a story out of nowhere, and he was Barry Bonds for a month.
He cooled down though, especially the last couple of weeks before he got injured. He did cool down.
I think he's still an integral part. They still rely on him to produce.
No, 100%. He's better than what a lot in which they have in the lineup right now, but let's not act like he was still Babe Ruth before he got hurt, because they were still struggling big time. They were reeling big time even when he was in that lineup.
Is there any chance that this panic for losing the division will ever set in? You say if they cut it to a 7 maybe 6-game lead. There's no chance, right? They cannot lose this
This is my concern. They lose tonight, so they get swept by the Rays.
And it would be an 8-game lead they would have over the Rays.
Right. And now the other concern is you're playing 4 against Toronto, right? I know Toronto lost last night to the Orioles, but they are still a very, very, very good team. And you drop 3 out of 4 to them, well, you better start, looking out for the way you're playing.
The thing about this division is that everybody's been so mediocre lately that, especially the Blue Jays, who looked like they were getting hot, and now they're 2-8 in their last 10, and they've lost 3 straight. Let's say Toronto wins right now and beats Baltimore, and the Yankees lose tonight. And then they come into New York, and let's just say, I don't think it's going to happen. Let's say they sweep the 4 games over the weekend. Then you have something to be worried about. But as of right now, no, I'm not concerned. I'm really not concerned about this division.
Now, I wanted to get to Boone really quickly. I'm not completely blaming him for the performance because he's not at bat. He's not fielding. He's not pitching. But some of the ways he's talking the press conference were, well, yeah, we got to fix things. It's something we definitely have to change. Well, I feel like every press conference you give, it's always we have to change something. And now it's been you've lost 11 out of 13 now. What are you trying to do to change? Are you not really giving insight? And it seems like you're not really trying to change things. Or at least it seems from what you're saying, because you're always saying you're changing stuff. But what are you doing?
Well, here we go. Now, I want to talk about this. I really want to talk about this. There have been changes made. The Yankees made big-time changes today. So, can I announce them?
You got them.
Okay, so Oswaldo Cabrera, not Peraza, Cabrera is coming up. He's, I think, their 11th or 12th prospect. He's an infielder. He's coming up. And Tim LaCastro's going down. Estevan Florial's coming up.
A guy Yankee fans have been clamoring to get up here to replace Hicks.
And who's going down for him? I'm sorry. Why am I blanking on it? It was
Andujar.
Andujar's going down. And then Clay Holmes on the IL. And the next Mariano Rivera, according to Yankee fans, Marinaccio, every Yankee fans' favorite relief pitcher, who they were just crying about for weeks that he got sent down, he's coming back up. So those are big changes.
1.08 ERA in 7 games from Marinaccio, somebody that should have been up sooner.
Yes.
I know, but although I wasn't really crying, but obviously. Now, I want to ask you, I feel like they brought up the wrong Oswald, even though it's Oswaldo versus Oswald.
Yes.
They brought up the wrong Oswald, parentheses, or whatever.
They brought up the wrong young infielder that has a name that starts with Oswald. Now, and I agree, because Peraza has been killing it this year. He's been one of their top 3 prospects for a very long time now, and refused to trade him at the trade deadline.
So bring him up. No disrespect to Cabrera, but you're in a really bad spot right now. We've seen teams that have brought up the youth, and they've gone far into the postseason. You don't. It's going to be a man. You are just Braves live rent free in your head.
Oh, they do.
But are you still? By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt here. Are you still arguing with that one? What was it?
No.
One newspaper?
No, little blog thingy. No, because after the Mets dominated them in New York, he kind of shut his little mouth up. Now he's probably talking a lot, but for my mental health, I'm not on his page anymore. I'm not looking at it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But just to give you the comparison here, in terms of home runs, RBIs, and OPS, Peraza has 17 home runs, 45 RBIs, and 782 OPS, while Cabrera has 9 home runs, 32 RBIs, and 851 OPS. Now, the OPS numbers are down for Peraza, but I'd still take Peraza. And again, no disrespect to Cabrera. You didn't want to trade him for Castillo. I know they were asking a lot more.
They actually offered Dominguez.
But he's still a high-valued prospect, so
yes.
Why not see what you have? What's the old saying? Prospects are suspects. See what you have, right?
I completely agree with you. And listen, this is my one thing. The Yankees are reeling right now. They're not playing well. And this was said by Brandon Nimmo when the news came out that the Mets are calling up Brett Beatty. And it was kind of stupid when he said it. But he said, I hope Beatty doesn't think he has to be the savior. And he shouldn't believe he has to be the savior. But these kids coming up right now are going to be looked at as saviors from the fan base. Maybe not from the team, but from the fan base and from media. Because they need a spark and they need something to change. And this is change, and this could be a spark. I think the pressure is going to be too much for these kids.
And by the way, Clay Holmes is placed on the 15-day injured list with lower back spasms. So that just to clarify there. So tonight, actually, I'm pretty excited for the pitching matchup tonight. I wouldn't think I would be saying that I'm excited to see Domingo Germán, but hey, and you're seeing a familiar face in Corey Kluber, who is, of course, the no-hitter last year.
Sure.
So, and we have the Yankee lineup for you, and we'll give that to you in a second.
Is this game going to be on TV, or do I have to go to Discovery Plus or one of these
It's going to be
apps?
It's going to be on, what was it? There was a streaming service that just went down.
Who knows?
Who knows?
How many? There's a million of them.
He was trying to make a joke and then actually couldn't remember one of the streaming services. So it's actually going to be on HBO.
Write that down. Write that down.
It's going to be on HBO Max tonight, guys.
So
good one, Mike.
I'm kidding. It's going to be on Yes, or where I think Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
Sure.
Great broadcasters there.
Yes, you're going to be able to listen to 30 seconds of silence in the middle of a broadcast. By the way, Brett Beatty batting 8th, playing third base tonight.
We'll get to the Mets. So we'll give you the 2 lineups first.
I like that.
Is the Yankee lineup out?
Yeah, it's out.
I've been refreshing Twitter for 20 minutes trying to find the Yankee.
According to Talking Yanks.
Okay.
Okay, so
probably yesterday's lineup.
It's not. Andrew Benintendi in left field, Aaron Judge in right field. Gleyber Torres batting third at second base. Batting cleanup at first base, Anthony Rizzo, the designated hitter, Josh Donaldson. Playing third base, Cabrera. Behind the dish, Jose Trevino. In center field, finally, Estevan Florial. And batting ninth and playing shortstop, I Can't Field.
Now, this is a better lineup.
This is like something hanging like the Louvre right now. This
Murderer's
is beautiful.
Row.
Take out IKF and put in Peraza, and you got yourself a good lineup there. One of the things about Florial is that he's been up and down so many times, and they bring him on as like the 27th man as well. He did this last year, earlier in the year, in a doubleheader. And I just think what they've done with this kid is so wrong because they've brought him up and down, and he hasn't really been able to get his feet really wet in Major League Baseball. I don't know if they've ruined him or not. I don't want to sound like an old school, you can't bring a prospect up and bring him back down and bring him back up. But if you want a guy to try and sustain some success, you have to be able to give him a chance. And I don't think he's gotten a chance. I hope this is a serious chance for him, though, because if this is just going to be one of those 1 week things where, okay, he's back down, then was it really worth it? Because this guy has been hitting, but I don't know if he's going to be a savior. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what he's going to do here. And the Yankees have had this thing where they hold on to prospects a little too long, and I feel like he's one of them.
Sometimes Mike, as a big-time gambler yourself, sometimes you just got to push all your chips to the center of the table, right?
Yes, you do. At some point, when it gets boring, you got to just go all in.
Just like the Mets, actually, as we have the Mets lineup for you right now.
Yes.
Apparently, Brett Beatty playing third base and batting 8th tonight. Mike, take it away.
Oh, I have to find out.
Okay, I got it. According to GENY Mets report.
I have it now.
You have it now.
Brandon Nimmo is leading off and playing center field, playing right field and batting second, Starling Marte, playing short and batting third, Francisco Lindor, playing first and batting fourth. Did I say that right? Yeah. Pete Alonso, DHing and batting fifth, Daniel Vogelbach, playing second and batting sixth, Jeff McNeil, playing left and batting seventh, Mark Canha. As mentioned, Brett Beatty is batting eighth and playing third, and then James McCann catching Max Scherzer tonight.
Ooh, Mad Max. Must-watch television whenever he's on the mound.
And are we getting to the Mets right now? Or you want to continue?
Actually, before we get to the Mets, I want to quickly talk about the IKF game because let me tell you, this is going to be the best moment of his Yankee career because after this year, he's done.
I would hope so.
I'd hope so, too. So, Mike, this sort of has relevance to your fandom.
Sure.
So, I've always been speculating, what would be the John Sterling IKF call?
Sure.
Because we've waited, 113 games at that point, 117 games, or whatever the amount was.
I've actually
He had so much time to come up with such a good call for him, right? So I'm going to turn off the mics, and I want you guys to hear this absolutely beautiful call.
Now here's the 1-1 to Isaiah. Swung on and line to deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. His first home run as a Yankee. He is Ralph Kiner-Falefa. Isaiah, a player.
Now, I like the Isaiah. He's a player. I like that. But it was a terrible, terrible call. I actually wondered late at night before I went to sleep in my bed.
Where's this going?
Where are you going to sleep, on the floor?
What John Sterling's call for IKF was going to be as well. I know Anthony was so worried about it, and it was terrible. I mean, you really had all this time, and it was bad. Except for the Isaiah, he's a player.
Which you should have just done that.
Yes.
But, Mike, my question...
Isaiah, he's a player.
Now, what happened here? Isaiah, a player. Now, Mike... Did you get the first half of that call?
Yeah, Ralph Kiner. Why? I don't know.
I feel like you wouldn't have known that.
No, I don't know why he said it.
Do you know who Ralph Kiner is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Legendary Met broadcaster.
Do you guys not like John Sterling? I
love John.
I think he's fine.
I said this on Twitter. He's the absolute voice of my childhood on the radio. Because I'd always ask my parents to put the Yankee game on AM radio.
Put the Yankee game on.
So he's a personal favorite, just an announcer personality. But that was absolutely horrendous.
I think he's fine, but he's become like a caricature of himself where he has to have the hokey, nickname. But I think when he just calls the game in general, I don't think he's that bad. Susan, not the best broadcast partner to be stuck with, but even you got to respect her, though. I mean, she was the first voice on WFAN, so
Hall of Famer.
She's an icon in her own right as well.
Oh my goodness gracious!
By the way, I didn't know what that clip was from for the longest time.
Yeah.
Roger Clemens is in George Steinbrenner's box.
That's when he came back to the Yankees.
And did nothing that year because the Red Sox won the World Series. Anyways.
I got two things completely off topic. Number one, we should have like a private phone number or text line to Pantano's if we want something delivered to this radio station. Look how the phone just rang like that. That's
fate.
Fate. Because I'm starving right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I got this weird little skin tag thingy next to my nose over here.
No more out of you.
And I keep picking at it. And
why? Why do we need to hear this?
And try to rip it off.
Anyway.
Hold on.
No.
Let's get weird. Let's get weird. He calls me today, okay? Anthony calls me while I'm at work. And I was really working hard today. And so I'm on the phone.
Working hard or hardly working?
And I'm on the phone with him, and he goes, "What time do you think you're going to get to the station today?" And I was like, "I don't know. I got to go home and shower after." So around 3:15. And he goes, "I really didn't need to know that." And then, by the way, he walks in at 3:30 casually.
Not 3:30. Anyways.
Yes.
Speaking about Pantano.
Don't you have a caller on the line?
Yeah. Please. We're trying. This is a professional operation, and your ego is so insatiable.
It's trying to get me lunch.
Well, speaking about Pantano's, your WHBC weather forecast powered by Pantano's Gourmet in Hewlett, Uniondale, and Garden City Park. Right now, it's 78 degrees in partly cloudy Garden City. Later, it's going to cool down to about 70 at 9 p.m.
Perfect drinking weather. I cannot wait for Park
Always
After Dark.
goes back to the drinking. Anyways,
Park
we have a caller on the line, 516-572-7440. Chime in, whatever you need to get off your chest right now related to sports, that is. Caller, you're on the air.
This is John from Freeport. Great show.
What's up, John?
Ralph Kiner is more than just an iconic broadcaster. He hit 40 home runs for 10 straight years from 1951 to 1961 and then retired. I think he led the league in home runs 7 of those years. So I just want, you can't, if he's more than a broadcaster, as you're saying, I don't know if you know who Kiner is, but I want to make sure.
No, I know who. I'm just saying in terms of being a Met fan, Met fans would know him from being the voice of the Mets for those years.
And I knew he was a player, of course, but I didn't get to mention it. I didn't realize how great he was, but I knew he was a former player.
All right, I just wanted to point out how great he was. He was great, and then he retired. He retired in '61, and the Pirates won it in '62. And he's also the subject of he tried to get a raise, and the owner told him, we lost 100 games with you. We can lose 100 games without you. All right. Thanks for the call. Good show.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Yes, he did. He led the league in home runs a lot. He was very good. He's a Hall of Famer. 946 career OPS, 149 OPS plus.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking up his stats right here. It's crazy how people didn't get into the Hall of Fame on first ballots back in the day. Like if you were a stud athlete, like Duke Snider, for instance, who dominated, the National League in the 50s. They're writing songs about the guy. I think it took him like 8 or 9 ballots to get into the Hall of Fame. It's insane. And I was looking at the 2023 class. It might be the worst group of people to potentially get in the Hall of Fame in a long time. I'm expecting 0.
I'm starting a hashtag on Twitter. Ron Guidry for the Hall of Fame.
Who should be in the Hall of Fame is the guy who got into the Mets Hall of Fame years ago, and his jersey finally retired, is Keith Hernandez. But that's a different story for a different day.
Keith and Don Mattingly should get in.
100%.
And there's somebody on this ballot this year, and again, definitely for a different day. But Carlos Beltran should be a Hall of Famer.
You don't think the whole Astros thing is going to... I think it's going to affect him 100%.
I don't think it should. I honestly don't think it will.
It has to, though. I mean... If you're going to keep Shoeless Joe out, if you're going to keep Pete Rose out for these, sort of, I lump them all together in the same sort of vein, even though they're all 3 different things. But I think these writers are going to no chance in hell. But if you just go by his playing ability, I mean, he's one of the best Mets of the last 25 years. Of course, winning the World Series with the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken, right? And he was on that team in 2009, right? No, he was not. Oh, well, there I go. But did he win a World Series, Beltran?
The Astros.
With the Astros,
Yes.
Yeah. He was great on the Royals too before that.
Yep.
I just don't see him getting in the Hall of Fame.
He should.
I don't know.
Keith definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Is he okay? Is he having a stroke?
No.
I think the skin tag comment got to him.
You threw me off there.
Can you look at what it is, please? I really don't know what it is.
What are we looking at?
It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Riveting radio, folks.
Well, I've always told you to put on sunscreen. I'm just going to leave it at that.
No,
it's not. It's probably just the acne. You got pimples?
Yeah, but it feels different than a pimple.
Maybe go to the dermatologist.
No, I got no time. I have no time to watch movies. I got no time to go to the doctor.
Because the Mets are on.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, babe, there's only room for 2 things, the Mets and alcohol, right, Mike?
My friend wants me to go to Philadelphia this weekend with him. He wants to go to the doubleheader, the Mets-Phillies doubleheader on Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I don't know if I'm feeling it.
By the way, I just sold my ticket to John and Susan talking bobble.
Why?
I got other things to do that night.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
What did you get for them? Did you get more?
Well, they haven't been sold yet. They're on the market.
You selling them for more? You trying to make some money back, right?
$4 more.
All right, he's trying to make some money.
A little.
It's a beer.
I did get that bobblehead. They're doing the Ron Darling bobblehead giveaway.
So they do connect.
The Susan and John.
No.
Oh, yes.
SNY broadcast.
Yeah, all 3 of them. They I didn't get a chance to go to that game. Fortunately, my brother did go to the game
thank God.
and got us the bobblehead. I would have had to have gone on eBay and dropped like $100 plus because I can't just have the Keith one by himself and it just says new.
Yeah.
Like, all 3 of them are going to say new and then York and Mets. So
right.
I'm grateful. These bobblehead games are insane, though. The fans love them.
Well, the price. So I was on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. And we'll get to the Mets. I know there's a lot with the Mets. Saturday. I think it was Ron, right?
Yes.
Ron was Saturday. I'm looking at Saturday, afternoon, the tickets for that night. Incredibly expensive. I mean, the cheapest ticket was probably $45 just to get in, around $45 without fees for Saturday night's game against the Phillies.
The lines were insane from what I've heard.
And
insane.
Then Sunday was so much cheaper, and I didn't end up going, but I was just amazed. Really, you're right. The bobblehead games are crazy.
I think a lot of people do resell them. If you spend $100 to get into the game, you could essentially get free tickets just by selling the bobblehead immediately.
How much do you think people are going to sell all 3 of them connected together for?
I've seen them because, somebody is selling all 3 of them already, knowing that he's going to get the Gary one for $300.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what?
And that could bump up, too, though. That could go up to $350, $400.
That may be a purchase one day for me. What? Not now, not in the next, year or 2, but maybe if I got money in a few years and I want it.
Not now. Maybe in a few months when baseball season's over, you don't drop $400 per game.
They're so cheaply made. It's not like they're high quality bobbleheads, which is why it would have irked me to pay $75, $80 for the Ron Darling one, knowing how cheaply and poorly they are made. But, a lot of people, what they do is they scam people. They say, I'll buy your bobblehead for $5. And you'll see people walking around with a bag with like 30 or 40 different bobbleheads. And then I've seen one seller in particular sell over 30 of them, of the Ron Darling ones exclusively. You're making thousands of dollars.
When I went to the Nationals game in D.C. for Mets Nationals opening day, or it was the first or second day, it doesn't matter, they had like Steven Strasburg bobblehead night. So I had it, and I obviously don't want it. It was just a burden to have in my hand. So this guy was walking around, and I looked, and he had a little kid next to him. I'm like, you guys want this? And they're like, yeah. And they thanked me. They bought me a beer. It was really nice of them.
Can't do a good deed without
bragging about it.
Not bragging about it, and a little booze.
No, it was they're cheaper there, and he was like, yeah, here we go.
First of all, we'll get to the Mets.
We got it.
We'll get to the Mets, but this is how it went down. Hey, you want a bobblehead? I go, bobblehead. You give me a beer. And they're like, you're frightening my kid right now. It's a bobblehead. Anyways, back to the Mets. Mets lose 5-0 last
night.
Heartbreaking. And now 2 of your starters with some injury concerns, as Carrasco's going to be out for a while. And
is there any word on Walker?
Walker, back spasms. So he left at the end of the third inning there. Now,
a part of his body that he... Actually, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. I was going to make a joke that I probably shouldn't make, but let's just sum it up. He's a very soft human being. But we'll just sum it up at that. If you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not... you would think today all doom and gloom.
You're giddy.
There's one reason why you're giddy, and that's because...
giddy?
Did you get that? The counter going still?
Yeah.
It's because Brett Beatty's up.
No, it's not.
Then what is it? Because that's the only reason I could see you being this happy. Because basically, the last 2 games and your losses here and there have basically put you back where you were at the beginning of a 5-game series against the Braves.
I actually had a nightmare last night. And it was, I swear to God, and it was reliving the last 2 games. I swear to God, okay? That's what the nightmare was.
I mean, the offense has just been atrocious, but I think the reason why I'm giddy is because of the 2 pitchers that are pitching tonight, and hopefully they get the game in tomorrow. I mean, with Scherzer and DeGrom, I have complete faith. It's just their offense now has been lacking. So hopefully this new kid, Beatty, can add something.
The offense is the offense. They were never going to stay that hot. They're going to ebbs and flows to a season, as Buck always says. So I'm not really too concerned. Let me just say this. In this spot tonight, team struggling a little bit. Lost 2 games to the arch rival that's coming at you. There is not one human being on this planet that I would want starting over Max Scherzer tonight.
Even DeGrom.
I want Scherzer tonight. I don't care. Stopper. Let's go. Let's get a big win. He's pitched very well against the Braves this season. Let's go. Come on.
There's just something about him on the mound that... And I went to that game on Friday, and I talked about this. I called up one of the shows. There's just something when he's pitching, even when he's not at his best, like he was on Friday, when he wasn't at his best, he's still able to control the game, which is, I think, something that separates like the great pitchers from the Hall of Fame pitcher that Max Scherzer is, because he did not have his stuff on Friday, and his ERA still dipped even lower. I mean, if he wasn't injured, he's got to be one of the favorites for the Cy Young, right?
Yes, and it's just because Alcantara is having such a fantastic season, and he's pitching so many innings and so well that he's the favorite, but Scherzer could really sneak into that conversation by the end of the year.
And another guy who, I have so much faith in, and I've never felt this way about a closer, for the Mets at least, is Edwin Diaz, the guy who we all 3 of us talked about on one of our morning shows months ago when the season started. We had a little wager going, and basically we're questioning what Edwin Diaz was going to be this year.
I forgot.
And he's become the greatest closer in the game, and it's not even up for debate.
What's the bet?
I wish we had it. I taped it up there.
It was over 43 saves.
43, okay.
It was 43
What's
saves.
he at now?
27.
So we'll see if he gets there. I mean, regardless, I think we won the bet. I mean, he's showed what he is. I have such faith. Even if he lets a man on or two men on, I don't expect him to do what he did the years prior.
So what is it? Anthony has to buy me a Diaz shirt?
Or Anthony needs to wear a Diaz shirt, or you have to wear, was it a Chad
Green? Chad Green, and then Chad Green's arm fell off.
So we're going to win.
I hope so.
You should
actually, theoretically, the bet is void now that he
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, it's not. So I think you should get the Diaz shirt.
It's not because how many blown saves? He only has one blown save.
I thought it was Chapman.
No. It was Chad Green because we were talking about the Chad Green floodgates, which was a term I used when Chad Green would come into a ball game in the 2021 season and would blow the game wide open.
Either way, I think you should get the Diaz shirt in my size, wear it, and then just give it to me. I think that's the best.
It seems like it should be that way.
That's the best course of action.
It's unbelievable, but hopefully we get to see him tonight. I mean,
it'd be nice. No, actually, I don't want to see him. I want to.
You want to blow them out.
I hate this team.
Really, more so than any team in the division. Braves over the Phillies.
You know what? I hate the Phillies so much too. So it's so even, my hatred. Like the hate in my heart for these two cities, fan bases, teams, radio hosts in the city. Actually, I like some of the Philly guys, but there's this guy in Atlanta. I'll get to him in a minute. You have a call. Let's get to the call.
Yeah. So we got a call 516-572-7440. It's the number. You got like 15 minutes left in the show to get your calls in. Caller, what's going on?
It's Ross. How are you doing?
What's up, Ross?
What's going on, Ross?
Hello. I think the Mets are going to get swept.
Of course you do, Ross. You're the most negative person on the sports show. Would you think the Yankees are going to get swept?
Yes.
Ah.
So what? Actually, I will say this. I think the Yankees have a better shot of winning tonight.
Even with Scherzer on the mound, how can you say that?
You're right. He's right. I'd rather Scherzer than Herman tonight.
No. The Mets can't score.
We'll see. We'll see tonight. I mean, it's 2 games of not scoring. Like, let's get real. It's 2 games of not scoring.
I'm telling you, they're mentally shot.
Okay. I completely disagree.
I mean, basing this off of what, though? I mean, just
2 games,
couple of games. I mean, just look at the whole season. Aren't they the second highest scoring team in the National League, just behind the Dodgers? So what are you basing this off of?
2 games against 2 really good pitchers that had a lot to prove. Strider was okay. He went 5 innings. There was a rain delay, and that also had something to do with it. The rain delay and only scoring 1 run that night. But that's a throwaway game for me. Last night was pretty pitiful. They did not hit. But Charlie Morton, who's a very good pitcher and, an old school veteran who's still pitching at a high level, was terrible all year against the Mets and found something last night and was really, really good. So, again, let's see what it is tonight. If they struggle tonight, Ross, against Jake Odorizzi, then I'll say, okay, all right, you got, I wouldn't say a problem, but I'll be pissed.
I could already just see a scenario where the Mets are a wild card team. I don't see them win the division.
Well, we're just going to have to see what happens.
You have 2 more games against the Mets. The Yankees have 1 more game against the Rays. I don't know how you could get up there and say you have more confidence that the Yankees won't get swept opposed to the Mets getting swept.
I don't. The Mets to me just look. To me, they look mentally shot. Yesterday, they look like they did not care.
Yeah, but there's 162 games in the season. They're bound to go through, like Mike said, the ebbs and flows of the season are certainly going to bring a downward spiral every now and then. But I mean, I have such faith in this ball club. Based on their record and based on their ability to play against good teams like the Yankees and the Braves the last series. I mean, with these 2 pitchers going back to back, I mean, to think that both of them would lose is, I think, lunacy.
So, for whatever reason, there are people like Ross that they need to see from even if the Mets win the World Series, and this isn't a knock on Ross because Ross has very high expectations, but if the Mets were to win the World Series, there'd still be a problem. And there are people out there like that. That's it.
Look, I wouldn't be. Look, I'm not that spoiled. If they win the World Series, I mean, that's you did the most you could possibly do in a season. I'm just, to me, I worry about them. Because usually when I turn on a game, I think they're going to win. I really do. I think the Mets could win. But when I turn on since they've been into Atlanta, I put the game on, and I just feel like the game is over because they, to me, they lose their starting pitching the last 2 nights, and they looked like they were just mentally shot.
Well, I'll agree with you. I think I'm with you, actually. I did not think they would win either of those games. I had zero faith. I think right from that Canna era, and when he just dropped the fly ball, ever since then, I was like, there's no chance they're winning that game. And last night, their offense, again, anemic. But, I mean, just based on the whole season in total, I can't sit here and say that that's going to continue. I mean, maybe yesterday and 2 days ago happened, but I can't, base that on what's going to happen moving forward.
Good pitching beats good hitting. And
there's no one's better than these two coming up, pretty much.
And I was even just talking about the last 2 days. Listen, Atlanta was embarrassed in New York. They were. They did not play well. The Mets really took it to them. And they had a lot to prove into the series. Now, this is where the Mets have to stand up. If they want to show, and they've shown us all season long, there have been challenges where, they're the same old Mets, with quotations, and they're actually not. They win games we don't expect them to. Let's see what happens the next 2 nights. Because Ross is right. Usually what happens is the Mets would have swept here.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens with Scherzer and DeGrom on the mound. Let's see if the Mets can, prove a lot of people wrong and win these last 2 games and split the series. And basically, the Mets have a chance here to make the last 2 nights completely go away. Like it never even happened. Win the next 2.
You're up 5.5.
Who gives a crap that they got outscored 13-1 in the last 2 days? If they win the next 2, I could give.
Yeah, and then especially moving forward into September, I mean, we've gone over the schedule, or you guys have on the sports show. I mean, 2 series against the Pirates, the Nationals. I mean, they have one of, if not the easiest schedule moving forward in the month. Yeah.
All right. Well, Ross, thank you for the call, all right?
Yeah, by the way, the Braves broadcasters suck.
Yeah, Chip Carey is that who does it?
They're not great. And Ross has this guy on their radio station that was just completely mocking New York sports fans and Met fans because of the William Contreras narco thing. Because that's his narco, Edwin Diaz's song, is Contreras' walk-up song. Mm-hmm. But then after he hit a home run against the Mets, they then played it after. Yeah. And he was like, they're so upset. That guy can go scratch.
2 things on the Mets really quickly about the schedule coming up. So they're going to Philadelphia after the Braves series, and your boy, the one and only Noah Syndergaard.
I love this place.
He's not pitching?
He will not be pitching.
So he pitched Tuesday. He pitched on Tuesday. So
he's online. He should have been pitching against the Mets.
Not only is there a doubleheader on Saturday, he's in line to pitch on Sunday. And they're skipping him.
That just shows the type of, because clearly that's got to be Syndergaard's call.
Yeah. Yep.
This guy, he's my least favorite player in baseball. They did the little ceremony prior to the game on Friday, to honor Syndergaard. I was booing louder than I've booed the entire year.
Good.
I despise this guy. With his little book club. Well, let's read a book. Shut up, Noah Syndergaard.
What about the video of him throwing a bullpen? Going, give me a contract. You remember that?
No.
He was basically begging Steve Cohen for a contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's really funny about Syndergaard is that I actually had respect for him for what he said at Citi Field the other day. One of the reasons why he left, he said, was because I was going through a rehab, and he said that there was a chance that things got tough where I wasn't pitching well, and maybe my velocity was down. I didn't want to be in a place like New York with the Mets where I'd be criticized. And honestly, I can somewhat respect that he's being honest. I understand the reasoning. Although he's soft, I understand the reasoning. But now to do this again, I mean, please, you are just another level of soft. You have no spine whatsoever. And
spineless.
And this isn't because I miss him, because I was a big proponent of him not coming back and saying that he was overrated for years on years on years. Like, we're so much better off without you. Like, every guy in the rotation right now is better than
in hindsight, yes, they are better, but I was definitely one that wanted him. I mean, I went to that game last year, his first game back. crowd was electric. I mean, I wanted to like the guy, but everything he's done since then, since he left the team, since that season ended, has made me just despise him. And I've been just hoping that we were able to face him, whether it was when he was with the Angels or these couple of matchups with the Phillies.
They skipped the start.
Exactly.
With the Angels that people forgot about. He skipped his start so he wouldn't face the Mets in June when they played the Angels.
God forbid it's the postseason and these teams match up, because right now the Phillies are in line to make the playoffs.
Yep.
So what are you going to do then?
So let me, Justin, let me ask
that?
you. When you went to that game and they did the tribute for him, how loud were the boos? Were they
I'd say it was split.
It was split?
I think it was split 50-50. I mean, he
That's
had
generous.
But he had great moments with the team. I mean, he was part of that World Series
he
team.
starts going, your mascot is creepy, all this other nonsense.
The thing that really pissed me off the most was when we got the no-hitter.
And then he goes,
that's not a real no-hit. Shut up.
If you're a real Met fan, you booed him. If you cheered him, I can't stand you.
One last thing on the Mets and their upcoming schedule. So they will be venturing to the Bronx after their series in Philadelphia. And here are the probables. So for the first game, it will be Max Scherzer against Domingo Germán. And then Tuesday, the other game, which you think, that would be on local TV or on TBS. No, it's blacked out and it's on Amazon Prime.
Is it?
Watch it on SNY. It's fine.
That's what I will be doing.
It's going to be on SNY?
Yes.
Yeah,
but the Yankees brought... Oh, wow.
Jacob deGrom versus Frankie Montas. So,
all right, that's a good one.
That's a nice...
That's a good one.
It's the season series to the New York Metropolitan.
When do you think they finally let deGrom, go like 100 pitches? It's going to keep on easing them into it?
I think you should be at 90 tomorrow and then 90 again. Honestly, I wouldn't push him way too far.
There's no need at this point.
Until the postseason.
Yeah.
Let him go free. I don't think he'll be free reign until the postseason.
So, anyways, just as a reminder, you were listening to WHBC Sports Talk on the Voice in Nassau Community College 90.3. WHBC, it's Anthony, Mike, and Justin Greenberg joining us. So let's get to the Giants really quickly. So, of course, they won their first preseason game, 23-21. I don't know why I sat through the whole thing. That was one of the most boring football games I watched, and I went in person to the 3rd and 9 QB sneak Giant game last year. But interesting words coming from Brian Daboll's mouth. Tyrod Taylor will get first-team reps, although Daboll is confident that Daniel Jones will be starting at the beginning of the season. Very interesting. And the first preseason game, Jones went 6 for 10 with 69 yards. So
nice.
Well,
he wasn't 6 for 9.
6 for 10.
Oh,
69 yards.
Sorry.
Pay attention, Mike.
Imagine 6 for 9 for 69 yards. That would have been perfect.
Or 420 yards. Who knows?
Nah.
Do you guys actually take any stock into what happens during the preseason football? I mean, I've never understood any of that as far as. I've seen so many teams go 0-4, and then
I don't take stock
teams.
in the record. I just because he's playing against the first team defense there.
Yeah,
he didn't play bad. He didn't play great. I will, however, say this: Barkley looked great. Thibodeau looked great. Neal, although he had a few bad spots there, looked great. Andrew Thomas looked fantastic.
There are some things you could take away, like the stats. I could give a crap, but the fact that Barkley was actually able to. He looked like he was trusting his legs, was running fearlessly as a running back. That was a good sign. A bad sign was Kenny Golladay looking disinterested in playing football. The one thing I do look at is practice. And what you hear from practice, what you see at practice, and what you hear from practice is that Kenny Golladay is disinterested in football. And Daniel Jones looks like crap. That's really what you hear. I keep saying crap. I got to stop.
This is it for Daniel Jones. I mean, if Daniel Jones does bad this year, he'll never start again in the NFL.
No, he'll be a backup. He'll definitely get a backup job, probably with the Vikings.
Yeah, of course he'll be a backup, but I mean, this is make or break time for Daniel Jones, and from what I've seen, it's just been all downhill. His first year was his best year, and then everything after that. But now, I don't know. What do you guys expect from this Giants squad?
It's a new offense, but then again, if the guy who fixed Josh Allen can't fix him, well, that's it. It's backup time.
I said this a couple days ago. I had weird confidence in the Giants. They were going to be good. In the past week or so, I've been completely
ditto.
Yeah, I'm taking back those comments. This is going to be a bad team. I think we'll know that Dayball is a good coach and what the GM, Joe Shane, is doing is the right direction. But ultimately, Jones will not be here. I think Tyrod will be starting at quarterback by the mid-season point.
Who do you guys think, last year the Bengals sort of came out of nowhere. Do you expect a team to be this year's Bengals? Is there somebody that just jumps to mind? I
don't think there's going to be a team like that that's projected to be bottom dwellers and then goes to the Super Bowl. I think a surprising team for me, I'm going to say I really like the Raiders this year. I think they're going to be surprising.
And that division is insane.
I don't think they're going to win the division, but they'll be up there. They'll have double-digit wins.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think with Russell Wilson going over to Denver, I expect a resurgence in his career. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot in my mind. I think a lot of people's minds.
Agreed.
I expect him to go there, sort of like what Peyton did when he went over to the Broncos, and just sort of prove the doubters wrong that he can still be an MVP level quarterback. And again, that division with Herbert and the Chargers and the Raiders are really good. And then who could forget? The Chiefs are also in that division, so that AFC West is insane. I don't know if there's ever been a division with that much promise in my lifetime, at least.
Probably the best division. I mean, I don't want to say ever, but in a very long time, at least.
On paper, it is.
At least that I've seen. The thing about the Broncos is that I don't know if they have the roster. Overall, it's a more improved roster than he had in Seattle the past couple of years. But I don't know if they got enough to go to a Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know if all of them are going to make the playoffs. It's going to be interesting. A team I'm very high on this year. It's kind of like cheating. Who's a team? I don't think there's going to be a team like Anthony said that's supposed to be in last and then go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very high on the Chargers this year.
Yeah, Herbert's the man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great. I would think the Ravens are going to have a really good year this year as well.
My second team. I really like them.
And I don't know what's going to happen with that division. I mean, so much has changed in that division. Because that was the dominant division for a while with the Ravens and the Browns. You thought were going to be something relevant, but the Bengals have been good. And then, of course, what's the fourth team in that division?
Steelers.
The Steelers. And now without Ben Roethlisberger, what are they?
Well, they have Mitch Trubisky, and they have a rookie quarterback, Kenny Pickett. They have a great defense. They have wide receivers.
I like
they have a
their
great coach.
I like Tomlin.
So they're going to be competitive. That could also be the best division in football if Deshaun comes back and plays well. We don't know what's going to happen.
I don't expect that.
I never told you my sleeper pick for the Super Bowl.
Who's your sleeper pick for the Super Bowl?
The Indianapolis Colts.
Whoa.
And the reason I'm saying that
was me last year.
Was that you last year?
Yeah, I like the Colts last year.
That's awful. The reason I'm saying it this year is you're bringing Matt Ryan, who you give him a good offensive line, which the Colts have. I think he can be still very good. Now, I'm going off of third year in a row, new quarterback goes to a new team and wins the Super Bowl. So that's my sleeper pick.
Okay.
Not $10.
Not Russell Wilson. Put it on him. Put $10 on him. Put $10
I think the Colts are more complete than the Broncos are.
I think that's a fair statement. I think that's a pretty fair statement. I think the wide receiving core with the Colts is a little less than other places. But yeah, defense is solid, offensive line solid, running game solid. With the Colts. I do it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. Justin, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate that.
I can't wait for tomorrow. Morning Madhouse, baby.
Yes. 7 to 9.
7 to 9. From Michael Merlo.
Hold
Justin.
on. We need I need topics for tomorrow, by the way, guys.
Okay.
I got you. Don't worry.
Topics.
Don't worry.
From Justin Greenberg and Michael Merlo, I'm Anthony Deus saying good night, New York, wherever you are.